welcome to the press conference of Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, screening out of competition. And from your left to your right, producer Jerry Bruckheimer, Geoffrey Rush, Hector Barbosa, Astrid Bergès-Frisbee, Sirena the Mermaid, Johnny Depp, Captain Jack Sparrow, Penélope Cruz, Angelica, the first female pirate on board, Sam Claflin, Philip Swift, Ian McShane, Blackbeard, and last but not least, director Rob Marshall. Welcome, everybody. And of course, my first question will be addressed to you, Jerry, and to you, Rob Marshall. Well, with these Pirates of the Caribbean, we're back to the spirit, really, of the first movie, yet with a different and fresh feel, with 4 new characters. So for both of you, what was your own personal challenge writing these Stranger Tides?
Well, the challenge also always is to get a fabulous script, and that is what we spent years on, just working the characters, creating new characters, and having the captain of the ship, Rob Marshall, at the helm of this, it made it much easier and very creative. And also Johnny and Penelope. Johnny spent a lot of time working on the screenplay with all of us, and it certainly shows. And then the addition of Penelope and that really I guess put the topping on the cake. And of course Geoffrey added so much to not only the movie but to his character. So we're thrilled to have Geoffrey back along with Johnny. But Johnny this is his movie. It's a Captain Jack Adventures, and we hope to continue them if audiences embrace this one.
Well, Captain Rob Marshall, what about you?
Well, for me, I mean, this was an extraordinary experience, and I was asked by Jerry and Johnny, and it was sort of a dream come true. I've always wanted to do an adventure film, action-adventure film for families, and so this was really special. I guess the biggest challenge always is in something this large that has such production value, et cetera, is to make sure, as Jerry just said, the story stays central, and the work of these magnificent actors. I mean, I was so lucky to have this extraordinary cast that doesn't get lost in amongst all of that, to keep that fresh. And what was great about having this particular script is it's so new. It just feels like a beginning. And I mean, led by the incomparable Johnny Depp. I mean, for me, when I was asked to do this, it's a director's dream to work with this man and to have that experience with him on every level, as a consummate artist, but also as an extraordinary person, was a great experience for me.
Well, thank you very much, Rob. We have a first question here, please.
Hello, Hugh Dyer, Belgian TV. It's a question for Johnny Depp. Johnny, very often actors become famous with one character, for example, Sean Connery with James Bond. But in this case, you were famous before Jack Sparrow. Then what kind of relationship you have with this character? How do you imagine it can last forever, this character? What kind of link do you have? Because you make many other things outside this franchise.
For me, I mean, I think with any character, when you run out of stuff, when you run out of opportunities or possibilities for the character, it's over with. Either that, or when you start playing the character, or you continue to play the character for the wrong reasons, That's why I think that, in a way, you feel, I mean, nobody's bulletproof, but you feel semi-bulletproof because the very seed of the reason for it is for the right reasons. Captain Jack, like any of our characters, developed like any other character I played before. He just felt that with those other characters, the story was done, But with Captain Jack, I think there's still, I feel like there's much more to be had, and much more fun to be had, and essentially, I mean, as long as the stories, the scripts are good, and filmmakers like Rob Marshall, we'll be in good shape.
A question here, please.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cannes. It's nice to have you here. I'm Francisco Cáceres from Ticket in Central America. I have two questions. First to Johnny. You've been really involved in the franchise. I would like to know how much of a creative input did you have for this film? And then for Penélope, how much of the action sequences were you able to shoot since you were expecting on the film? And I've read that your sister Monica helped a little bit. If you could comment on that, please. Thank you very much.
You want to go first?
I did a couple of months in LA of training with the same team that did Pirates, the 3 movies. And they taught me, I knew not all of them, but some of the fights, some of the choreographies. And then once we started, I did what was able to do, not everything, just what was safe, nothing dangerous. They protected me every single step of the way. That was the most important thing for me, but also for them. And they were extremely kind and careful and really, really protective. And it was very helpful that we had that time before the movie started in Los Angeles.
Penelope's an extraordinary physical dancer, and seeing her get up there and do that, I mean, she just did it so beautifully. And we moved the schedule around as much as we could so we could shoot a lot of her work early on as well. But one of the reasons she's cast is because she's so physical, in addition to being everything else that she is.
And then Monica came at the end for 1 week and a half or so in London.
Yes.
Because she's a dancer.
Towards the end, we actually asked Monica to help us out for some of the wide shots and some of the long shots where we needed a different silhouette.
And she's very good with the sword because she did it in a movie herself.
Yeah, no, she was fantastic and a real friend to the film. Mm-hmm. But she was fantastic and just sort of lovely woman, and the whole family is extraordinary.
Johnny, your creative input.
As far as I was very lucky, in the regard that the creative team, that is Jerry Bruckheimer, the writers, and Rob invited me into the process of developing the story, from page one. So how much of it is mine, you were asking? Well, I mean, it's a kind of it's a sort of there are ingredients from all angles, from everyone, and that becomes, let's say, the sort of bones of the structure, and then once you're on the set, even that changes around, and pieces of flesh get ripped off and other things thrown on, and then Band-Aids and, parsley and all that. So I was very lucky to be involved.
A question here, first row.
Hi, question for Mr. Depp. Depp, every time I see Jack Sparrow, I remember about Marlon Brando's character, Lee Clayton from Missouri Breaks, that have many similarities with Sparrow. Was this character an inspiration? What are the inspirations to Jack Sparrow?
Well, certainly, I mean, anything that Marlon did within cinema and outside of cinema, because I was lucky enough to know him, and so anything that he did on film or outside is a great inspiration to me. I can't say that I used anything of Marlon's for Captain Jack, because Captain Jack was basically how I saw the character was a sort of weird combination between a 18th century rock and roll star, i.e. Keith Richards, and then Pepe Le Pew, who was a skunk, kind of a skunk, basically.